All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our Tech Talk today. Today, I'm actually going to be presenting. My name is Regina. You might have seen me on these Tech Talks, but I'm just going to share some tips on job placement strategies. So, just a little bit about myself. So, I'm the marketing manager here at the Tech Academy, and I've been working here for the past 2 years. And I actually attended the web developer bootcamp here at the school. And I've also been teaching intro Python and JavaScript classes, very basic classes just to see if anybody interested, and then they can join our coding boot camps. And then I've also been hosting these tech talks. So I've had a lot of recruiters on these talks, and I basically combine all their tips into this presentation to share with you guys. So basically, we're going to go over some interview tips, some resumes, sorry. I'm hosting and presenting, so I'm going to keep looking back and forth to let people in. All right, so interview tips, resume tips, LinkedIn, and then also some tips on technical interviews. And then I'm also going to teach you how to basically use Chat GPT to your advantage to help within the job search. I do want to leave most of the time for questions. So I'm going to go over these slides, but make sure you leave your questions in the chat. And like I mentioned, at the end, I can open up the mics and you guys can ask questions that way as well. But yeah, so leave your questions in the chat and I will get to them. All right, so some tips for interviews. So first off, research the company. This is honestly really important just because during your interview, let's say they're going to ask you a question. Why do you want to work for this company? It's always a good idea to know a little about the company so you can actually answer these kind of questions. It's also, if you do know who's going to be interviewing you, it's always good to look them up a little bit, see what topics they're interested in. Maybe you guys have some similar interests and you can kind of open up a conversation on that end and connect with them a little bit deeper on a deeper level. So it's always good to research the company. And also at the end, they're always going to ask you if you have any questions for them. So make sure you do have a list of questions that you do want to ask. This shows the interviewer that you're actually really interested in working for the company or in finding a job. And it's always good to have questions at the end, not only for you, but also to look better with the recruiter. This can be something like, what's your company's culture like? Or how do the teams communicate with one another? And you can definitely look up some of these tips or questions on Google and watch some YouTube videos on it. I'm also going to teach you or tell you how to use Chat GPT to do it as well. But yeah, always have questions. Another tip is to practice good body language and communication skills. So one way to improve this is to record yourself. So make sure you have all the questions you're going to ask yourself, or all your interview questions, and record yourself and watch the recording back, see where you need to improve. So most of the time, for me, it's my posture, eye contact. Maybe you have a weird tic that you do that you don't know about. So it's always good to record yourself and improve yourself based on what you see. And then also always send a thank you note. So it's a really nice touch. I know that a lot of recruiters / interviewers, they do really enjoy receiving your thank you notes. And depending on what you guys went over during the interview, you can definitely make it more personalized. And it's a great way to make you stand out. If they ghost you, they ghost you, but at least you send a thank you note, and a lot of people I know do appreciate that. Okay. Okay, so building an effective resume. So 98% of Fortune 500 companies actually use an application tracking system called ATS. And ATS basically converts your resumes, your cover letters, etc., to plain text. And this is how basically they determine if your qualifications match the one on the job listing. And this is where most of the people get actually kicked out of the system. So they don't even get sent to the next stage to be interviewed. Maybe you do qualify for that position, but because of the way you set up your resume, you're already being kicked out and then not getting an interview. So one thing to improve with this is tailoring your resume for the job you're going to apply for. So make sure that you use some of the keywords that are placed on the job listing and use those on your resume. This is very important. And then look, inspiration on TikTok. So I have a love and hate relationship with TikTok. Maybe some of you can relate to that. But yes, you can waste a lot of time on there, but there can be some effective content on there as well. So one tip I have with this is if you don't know where to start, or if you don't know how to set up your resume, what does a software developer resume look like? You can definitely take inspiration on, Google and YouTube, things like that. But with TikTok, I feel like the content is much shorter, and it's also, a lot more content that you can get through. And they have a lot of informative tips on how to set up your resume effectively. And it's a lot of people who've been doing this position for a while, or some of them are actually recruiters. So I definitely do like to look for inspiration from TikTok a lot. Like I said, it can definitely have its negatives, but it can definitely have positives as well. Another tip is to use appropriate font type. So usually the header is 16 point and then text is between 10 to 12. This can also differ depending on like how you want to set up your resume if you have a lot to fit on there. But usually you want to keep it minimum 1 page. And I'll also go over like how to style it, but you also want to make sure you use action verbs, especially for the skill section. Some tips for an ATS-friendly resume. Let me actually look to see so far we have any questions. Looks like Michael's got a good tip for us in the chat. All right. So use exact keywords, like I said, from the job post on your resume. Another tip is don't use fancy formatting. So you don't want any tables, icons, or columns on there. Just the basic bold, italic, underlining, and just simple bullet points. If you were applying for, like, for example, a design position, that would be a different story. That's where you really want to show your creativity. But with the software developer jobs, you just want to make it simple and straightforward. Again, if you don't know how to start or what the template looks like, if you're currently on our boot camp, you can definitely, contact the job placement team and they will definitely help you with that. But also, again, you can take inspiration from like other YouTubers, or you can use TikTok and go on Google, but just keep it simple. And then also 45% of resumes are actually blocked because of their file type. So make sure you're using the docs or PDF extensions, or your resume might be kicked out of the system. Okay, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So same thing with resumes. Again, I keep saying keywords. If you don't know what keywords to use, I'm going to go over in the Chat GPT section, but you can definitely look up some keywords on there, or you can like paste your listing on there and be like, give me the keywords from this, and then you can put that on your resume or on your profile on LinkedIn. But make sure you use these keywords, because once they're searching you up, or once they're searching these keywords, this is how profiles will pop up on their end. So if you don't use these keywords, then your profile will not pop up probably. And then URL, banner, image, summary, feature experience, education, skills. So this is there's a lot of information on this. I actually got most of my information from this. Oh, I actually forgot. So I have a link with you guys to share. So another tool that you can use to improve your resume. So let me mention this and then we'll go back to the LinkedIn. So when I was in school, we used VMock. And at the time, it was free for me because I was going through school. And it's just a platform where you can improve your resume. So you just share your resume with it. It's going to give you some tips. It also has other features as well. I want to say you do have to pay for it. I could be wrong, but let me share VMock with you guys in the chat. It can be a great tool if you just want to make sure your resume is based on the industry standards. Anyways, going back to, let's see, where did I put my slides? Okay, so going back to some tips. So basically all the tips I'm sharing with you guys today. I actually got it from Free Code Camp. It's a long article, so I won't have time to share everything, but I definitely recommend that you guys go through some of these. Okay, let me let someone in. Yeah, I definitely recommend that you go through that um, website. So URL, you can actually, I don't know if you guys know, but you can actually customize your own URL on LinkedIn. You know, you can just change it to your name, probably your first and last name. And then it's nice always to have like it's just a nice touch to your profile. Also make sure you have you know, a banner image that's nice, nothing crazy. And then for the summary, feature, experience, and education section, definitely check out the link I shared with you. I can go over some of the questions you guys have with that as well later at the end. Another tip is to network, network, network. This is why you're using LinkedIn, right? So I know that you guys, some of you might be going through the boot camp. So it's really nice if you have the time to join some of these events that we have, the Tech Talks. It's a great opportunity where you can just connect with other people through that talk or the actual speaker. But if you've already graduated and you have some more time to spend on these events, you should actually join other events as well. Again, this is how you're basically going to connect with other people within this industry. I haven't heard of a lot of in-person events. Most of them are virtual now, which can be easier maybe for you to join because you can join any of them across the country. But yeah, so make sure you are connecting with these people. For example, if you join one of these tech talks, make sure you at the end send them a little note or like connect with them and then send them a note. Say that, you know, you appreciate the information they shared with you and you learned a lot from them, something along that line. And then once you have a personal or like a bigger relationship with them over time, and if you ask questions, they're definitely eager to help you out. I mean, this is why they join our tech talks, is because they want to help you guys out. So they definitely are totally wanting you guys to reach out to them and ask questions. And if they, you know, they can't help you with something, they can definitely connect you with someone else within their network. So this is why it's always important to connect with these people. And for example, if you're also applying for jobs, either before or after you've applied, especially before, probably a good step, you do want to go on their LinkedIn profile, look at all the positions that, you know, all the jobs, all the different people who are working on there. Look at the software developers or the recruiters, connect with them, let them know that you're interested in position at their company. This can definitely, like, it's one thing to actually apply through their website. It's another thing to actually connect with them on LinkedIn and send them a side note. So both of them can definitely be useful to make you stand out a little bit more. So yeah, network, network, network. And then the three big things on LinkedIn is your name, profile, photo, and your headline. Name, pretty straightforward. Have your first and last name on there. Let me admit them. Okay. Yep. So make sure you have your first and last name on there. And then for your profile photo, make sure it's something professional. Unlike mine, which is a selfie, don't use a selfie. Make sure it's a professional headshot. Make sure you're the only one in the image just because it's easier to spot you because they don't know who you are, right? And then the headline. So this is where you want to use all the keywords and be specific. I said that earlier as well. So when you use keywords, also be specific. Don't just say Python. Say what you learned from Python or what projects you work on Python. Like, for example, in our coding bootcamp, we used a Django project. So maybe you can actually talk about that and what are some of the Python tools you use to create this project. So be a little bit specific, but also make sure you use these keywords in your headline because this is how you're going to pop up in the search. All right, and then practicing for technical interview. So I've personally never had a technical interview. I've never had a tech interview. Like I said, I did go through the web developer boot camp, so I do have some knowledge on coding, obviously, but I've never done an interview myself. But I feel like this is the part I would struggle most with, just because maybe I'm not as prepared for this part. But basically, the more you practice, the easier these are going to get. So a couple of weeks ago, McKay Moore here, one of our graduates, he actually did a talk, and he introduced us to Anki. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but this is basically an intelligent flashcard. So it works like a regular flashcard. You have your topic, and then behind it, you have the description. And how the system works, it's going to ask you that question or show you that flashcard. If you get it right, it's going to ask you, it's going to put it towards the end of the file and ask you in a few days. But if you get it wrong, it's going to ask you again within that same day. The more you get it right, the further down the pile it will go. So it will ask you in 7 days, a week, a month. But if you keep getting it wrong, it keeps asking you until you memorize that card, so you can finally answer it correctly. So this can be a very helpful tip, not just with your technical interviews. In general, if you have a hard time memorizing, which I do, with some topics, it necessarily doesn't mean you're not good at coding. It's just like some of these things that you just have to memorize. And this can be a great tool for that. Some of you who are still in the boot camp, this is a great time to start. But I know that some of you who are actually out of the boot camp, it might be harder to actually create these, just because it's going to be a little time consuming. So make sure you use this tool, because it can definitely be very beneficial to your technical interviews. And then the second step is just reviewing the computer science fundamentals and technical concepts you've learned. And you can use the flashcards, or if you're not interested in that, definitely just go over the notes you've taken during the boot camp, or if you haven't joined the boot camp, just the notes you've taken over time. Also, look up coding challenges online. There's a bunch of different websites that do this. There's a bunch of different questions online. Our job placement group also has a lot of questions they can go through with you to help you out. But practice, practice, practice. This is how you're going to pass this part. And then another tip is to read Cracking the Coding Interview. I'm sure most of you guys have heard about this. I'm going to share it with you guys. It's on Amazon. It's basically technical questions, coding questions on FANG companies, which is Facebook, Apple. One second, there we go. And let me let someone in. So yeah, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, and more now, but basically questions that they usually ask during their interviews. So also, you might not even get a technical interviews. We've had people on here that said they never even had a technical interviews, and they just pretty much got the job based on the projects that they've put it on their resume, and based on the GitHub, based on their GitHub account. So it really depends, but you do always want to be prepared if in case there is a technical interview. All right, let me look at the chat, because you guys are definitely typing up in there. I'll go in over these in a second. But anyways, next, we're going to talk about Chat GPT, which is my favorite thing in the world right now. I've been using it a lot just because, again, I am in marketing, so I do all of our social media, all of our email campaigns, all of our tech talk hostings and promoting these. So it's definitely been a very useful tool. It has automated my job a lot, and, opened up a lot of room for other things that I can work on. But, I also use it for other things, and it can definitely be a very helpful tool for your job search. So some tips I can give you is, for example, we were going over how to set up your resume. It's very easy for you to just like either put your resume in or be like, make a resume, software developer resume for me. But the more specific you are, the better outputs you are going to get. So be specific. Say how old you are, or I guess maybe how old is not important. Your name, what experiences you've had, where you've worked before, what you learned on the coding boot camp. Basically add as much as you can, and then tell it to maybe create a resume or give it a template already that you have of a resume to improve. So the more specific you are, the better. And one way that personally, if I was in your guys' position, I know that you guys apply for a lot of jobs on a daily basis, and one way to basically organize these, I know we've had a lot of people use what's it called? Different tools, like for example, Google to separate all the jobs you've applied for, Google Sheets to actually organize everything. But I think you can also do that on Chat GPT, because once you open up a new chat, anything that you're going to put on the chat, it's actually all the content before it is going to like memorize that content. So for example, let's say you're going to apply for a job at um, the Tech Academy, like they have a software developer position open, right? You're going to put the job listing in there. Then you're going to give it your resume, explain as much as you can about yourself. And this is where it's going to give you the output of your resume, some keywords maybe that you can put on your resume, or this is how you can also improve your keywords on your LinkedIn. But either way, you can do that specifically for just one chat for that Tech Academy job. And everything that you put in there afterwards, it's going to remember it, right? So for example, yes, Jacob, Excel is another way to do it. But let's say within that Tech Academy chat, then let's say you want to send a thank you note. It's easier to just like prompt it to say it, because then you don't have to re-explain yourself every time. So I think that's a good way to organize everything. And then the next job, you can do the same thing. Just have a new chat for that job, change the name of it, make sure it doesn't just say new chat, and put all the content in there. If you want to reach out to the interviewer later to see, if you're going to get a position, then it's easier to prompt your chat and get a better output rather than opening up a new chat without a lot of content. So that's one tip I have for it. Let's see. We also had Chris Thompson here a couple weeks ago, I think 2-3 weeks ago, and he went over a lot of information on how to prompt. And I definitely recommend that you guys join or watch that talk on YouTube. That was very useful. But anymore, so Chat GPT, another way you can do it. So anything we went over today, so anytime I said get inspiration from Google or from your Google search engine or TikTok or YouTube, you can use Chat GPT for all of that. It's going to automate a lot of your tasks, and it's going to leave a lot more room open for you to maybe apply for new jobs or work on a project. That's another thing you can use it for. I know a lot of you guys just don't know, like we keep telling you it's good to have side projects because it shows that you have experience, but you don't know what side projects to work on. So again, you can have a new chat, explain the details of everything that you know, ask it to give you some ideas for projects you can work on, and they can either be easy or hard. And you can also, again, look on YouTube once you have decided the topic, so you can actually, if you get stuck on it, debug anything that goes wrong with it. But you can use ChatGPT for a lot of things. And one thing that I do recommend, I do think that some recruiters might not find it personal. Like I know that they probably don't have the time to put your, like, let's say you use ChatGPT to write a personal note or a thank you note. I'm sure they don't have the time to actually put that to an AI detector to see if ChatGPT wrote it or you. But if they did, I'm sure they would prefer if it was personalized and not an AI that wrote it. But again, I don't think like that, because I think automating your tasks will open up a lot of time for other things, since you guys, are trying to land a job and you have so many jobs you have to apply for, get ready for the interviews, change your resume, et cetera, et cetera. So what I would recommend is that you always change the tone. So explain the tone you want your note to have, like enthusiastic or thankful or something like that. And then also I always finish out with, make sure that an AI detector can't detect this. This is, again, it's not necessary, but some people prefer a personalized note rather than an AI. So this is one thing you can do. But that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. I did want to leave a lot of room for questions at the end, so I kind of went over everything quickly. Let me see if there were any other links I was going to share with you guys before we move on to questions. Like share the book, the note card. Okay, yeah, so let's open it up to questions now. All right, lost you guys. There you go. All right. Yes, Chat GPT, definitely the go. Any questions so far? Let me go through, if you guys can, if you've already put questions up there, just copy and paste it again in the chat and let me go look to see. I love how you guys are networking on this. Yes, there are a lot of job scams on LinkedIn for sure. Oh, wow. Sorry you had to experience that, Robert. Yeah, very out of hand. I think at the moment they're trying to work on that, specifically LinkedIn, but yeah, definitely watch out. Let's see. Michael says, don't put your contracting company on the same line as the company on your resume line. We work for to avoid it. Yep. There are also a lot more ATS, I'm sure, tips that you can look up maybe on Chat GPT as well. Oh, wow. That definitely not good. I feel like Indeed is definitely worse than LinkedIn. Yeah, maybe. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. Oh, okay, sorry. Let me open up the chat so you can actually unmute. Go ahead with your question, Trevor.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for this presentation. And really quickly, I was trying so hard to find your name. I don't see it anywhere.
Sorry about that. I did put it in the beginning. I'm Regina, by the way. I can share my LinkedIn with you guys. My LinkedIn is definitely not updated. This is not what you should do. Of course, yours should be updated. Mine's definitely not. Let me share it with you. And I do have a selfie again.
Oh, that's quite all
Not
right.
good if you're finding a job.
I just wanted to say thank you, Rashida, for putting this together and
Yeah,
gathering
of
us all
course.
here and giving us your time. So my question is, I'm a little bit further in my career than probably some. I haven't started job looking since like 5 years ago before COVID, and the landscape, especially locally in the Portland area, has changed quite a bit. I've noticed a lot of uh, annual resources are no longer there. And personally, I'm trying to figure out what the local kind of networking landscape has transformed into, if you would. Do you have any thoughts on that? I know we can surf through LinkedIn, Indeed, and especially in a remote, expected world now, it's really easy to get whitewashed by all the large companies just throwing everything left and right, promoting everywhere. But I have honestly found the most success through local, maybe smaller companies, and they're just kind of a little bit harder to get a hold of. And Craigslist is kind of abysmal now as well. I just want to know if you had any thoughts or ideas on where to look around that avenue.
Yeah, I agree with you. Most of the time people usually go for bigger corporations, but there are a lot of openings in these smaller corporations, and it's been really difficult ever since COVID, like you said, because a lot of people have moved fully remote. A lot of people who used to be in this area have completely went remote, closed their offices, etc. Um, one way, again, one way that I could think of is again through connecting with other people within the Portland area. Maybe it's not even someone who's a recruiter, who's maybe just a software developer, and also looking up some of the Portland companies. Look over who has been working for them under the people section, and just connect with them on LinkedIn, and then maybe you can somehow figure out if they have any advice for you on any positions they have open in their company, or maybe they can connect you with someone else. Another thing, like I said, there hasn't been a lot of in-person meetups, but there are some meetups in Portland. We actually host one of them at the Tech Academy. It's called Mentorship Saturday. Let's see. But it's really hard just because a lot of people have been moving online. Portland. Let's see. I think they meet up the first Saturday of every month.
Yeah, I might see some of you there next Saturday. They've actually been around the whole time. There was another one that I remember called PDX Startups. They had a Slack channel, but somehow it migrated to where the only way to get a hold of it is you have to have an email domain with one of the startups, like one of 30 that are actually part of it, which I don't really understand. But I'm just trying to figure out what's like. So like the Mentorship Saturdays is a pretty good one because they've been sticking around. I know the guy that runs it too. Just kind of more things like that.
They've definitely been around for a while. Like I said, there was a lot more, and most of them have either just completely closed their events or just moved it online. I know that there's a Python one with Chris Thompson. I don't know if you're into Python or if that's one of your skill sets, but I can definitely find it. Jacob, so I have never attended the Mentorship Saturday, but let me find the meetup page for that. So yeah, the next one is going to be August 5th. Oh, is this the right one? Yep, this is the right one. Yep, so Aaron is the host, and here's a link for that. It's actually at the Tech Academy's office. And let's see if they have any information. It looks like they have a Discord. Here's their Discord if this is easier for you guys. But I'm not sure exactly. I've never, like I said, attended the meeting, but you know, it's they probably go over some information with you. There's also food and snacks. You can also ask questions. It's just a great way to connect with people within the Portland area. Trevor is right. It's easier to, there are a lot of positions that are open like this, but they're not listed on LinkedIn or Indeed, and it's really actually hard to find these positions. As you guys know, since you guys have been applying for jobs, most of the time it's just a lot of bigger companies that pop up on LinkedIn. But through networking, either through these events or on LinkedIn with other people. Also, some people actually within the Portland area, I've noticed on LinkedIn, they've been posting job listings within the Portland area. So let's see. Let me figure out what.
Can you link that one by Chris for Python as well?
Oh, yes. So Chris is sometimes online, sometimes in person. I haven't seen him recently or seen them posted in person recently, but let me look it up really quickly. Chris Thompson, he actually does a lot of tech talks for us. He's a great resource. I definitely recommend you guys reach out to him. He's always been around to help our students, and he's always encouraging everyone to reach out to him. But let me pull up his page. I want to say it was Pi Data, something like that. Let's see. Give me 1 second. LinkedIn just really makes it hard. Show all posts. I feel like I just saw his post about it. All right, for example, this. This was just on Chris's page, and it looks like John has just posted a lot of openings that are available within the PDX area. If you go through his post, it should pop on there, but here's John's LinkedIn. And then let me find Chris's one. Let's see. Mm. Oh, okay. So his event is called Python Pirate. And I wish it would let me share the post, but instead it just goes to his profile. Ah, copy link to post. There we go. And earlier, I just shared John's profile, but I really want you guys to see all the positions. It was actually from a week ago, so I'm sure there's still openings within these companies. Here's the job listings I just found on LinkedIn. Well, the first one is Chris's post, the second one is John's post.
Very cool. Thanks for that.
Yep, of course. It looks like Michael is mentioning Becky Myers, who has meetings through WorkSource. Oh, even at PCC, Willow Creek. So if you guys are within that area, definitely check out that meeting. Yeah, I definitely recommend attending a lot of these if you do have the time, of course. Attending a lot of these in-person meetings and online. Um, but it's a great way to network for sure. Any other questions? I feel like we had another question. I don't know if I skimmed over it. Sorry if I haven't seen your question, but if there is, just let me know in the chat. I've tried applying for jobs. Um, it is a hard market out there, Robert, I won't lie. Um, how many jobs are you applying on a daily basis for? Or weekly? Oh, never mind. Never mind. But as you guys know, it is, especially your first developer job, it's going to be hard. But once you're foot in the door, then it's a little bit easier. I know a lot of you have been hit with uh, the tech layoffs as well. We actually had a recruiter a couple weeks ago, and he said, within um, 60 days, most of the people who have been laid off, they usually are able to land another job. So hopefully you guys are getting a lot of interviews and preparing for those. Again, networking is going to be key because a lot of the positions are also not available on like these websites like LinkedIn or Indeed. A lot of it is through word of mouth. So if you have connected with someone within that company, then they can reach out to you and let you know. Or if you have a friend at that company. So that's why networking is very, very important. Any other questions? Well, let me know. But I also have my contact information. I should have put that up probably. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I also shared my LinkedIn earlier, but I've never done one of these tech talks before. I've always hosted them, but we haven't had a speaker for like 2 weeks now. I was like, do one. So I just basically combined everything that I've learned over the past 2 years into this presentation. And next week we will have one of our, actually it's going to be, let me pull up the list for you guys. So next week we are hosting a tech talk and it is going to be with, one second. taking a while. Wesley Rolston, so he's going to be doing a talk on SQL, and then we'll have Chris Carter, and then we'll have Gurov. Hopefully, I'm saying his name right, but you guys have might seen him in one of the presentations we had recently. He's basically sharing some tips on how to land high-paying tech jobs. He's a great presenter, 100% recommend attending. So is Wesley and Chris Carter. Chris Carter is actually one of the first graduates we've had at the Tech Academy. He used to actually be a doctor, and now he's a senior software developer. But he's actually going to be doing a talk on, I haven't put up the listings yet, but I will work on it next week, so they should all be there. So logging and debugging enterprise applications. So that's what he's going to be doing a talk on. But yeah, like I said, I will post all of these to our Meetup, LinkedIn, and we also use another whatever listing site we use. So it's all going to be on there. And look for my email. I'll email you everything. But usually it's every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. If you guys are not familiar with our Meetup page, this is where I usually post everything. And I send you emails as a reminder. So in case you want to join, you can. And if not, you can just ignore my email if that topic doesn't seem interesting to you. Let's see. I keep losing you guys. All right, so here's the Meetup page. Yeah, just watch out for my email. Also, I forgot, we are recording this and then I'm going to be posting it onto our YouTube channel later. I shared the Tech Talk playlist earlier. And for those of you who are interested in learning more tips, like I said, these are from a bunch of recruiters we've had on these talks. I recommend skimming over that Tech Talk playlist. Like, for example, recently we had Michael McCord. He did a great presentation on how to break into tech while tech is breaking. And then another great presentation, Chris Thompson always gives us great presentations. So does Scott Katzelnick. And then let's see, another job placement Q&A that was really good. Jeffrey Luxmore. So I'm actually going to share this with you guys. His was all about LinkedIn. Sorry, not Jeffrey Luxmore. Let me see. No. Taylor Huff has a lot of good talks too. So let me just share these with you guys. So this is a really good video. I'm going to say Tech Talk 1. And then the next one that was really good. Let me actually stop this. So I'm going to bring you guys here and then do everything else on the other side. That one was good. Let's see. I'm going to share the LinkedIn one. That one was very informative. One second, sorry. Next time I'll have everything ready so I can just share it with you. Josh Matthew has a lot of good tips for, how to do your first round interviews. So not your technical one, but sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear. And then for this, I can do Tech Talk too. He's the one actually share that you can record yourself and then watch yourself back. And that could be a great way to improve your communication skills and just your interview skills in general. And then I shared Taylor Huff's. Where is this one that I'm looking for? There we go. So this one's about leveraging LinkedIn. Sorry, the topic is like about to pop up. It says LinkedIn best tips and practice. And Jeffrey Morris, he's a great recruiter, great presenter. Here's his talk. I also took some tips from him. So watch these three so far. Let's see if I can. And then, like I say, Michael McClure, he did one recently for us. I'm going to share that with you. There's also a bunch of other ones in here, but these are the ones that, stand out to me currently, or I remember. All right, Tech Talk 3. Here we go. Oh, I meant to say Tech Talk 4. Okay, so these are where I got all my inspirations. And then the prompting one that I was talking about, Chat GPT, is from Chris Thompson. Again, you should definitely reach out to him on LinkedIn. He's awesome. He's like a Python genius. Tech Talk 5. There you go. But yeah, check these out. And then, like I said, I put my email on there earlier. I can share it with you again if you need it, but reach out to me if you have any questions. I hope you guys learned something new. I do marketing here, so I tried my best to combine everything that I've learned over the past 2 years so I can share it with you guys, and hopefully it was informative for you. But if you have any questions, let me know. You can email me. I usually don't go on LinkedIn. I'm usually on the Tech Academy's LinkedIn. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me through Tech Academy's LinkedIn. But if you guys don't have any questions, this is pretty much the end of the talk. Watch out for my email. I will let you know the details of next week's Tech Talk. And I hope everyone has a great Friday and a happy weekend.
Thank you. Great job. You might be expected to do more.
No, no. Well, thank you. No, this was actually really fun. And I'm glad, you guys hopefully learned something new. Thank you guys for joining. Yes, actually, thank you for reminding me. Let me stop the recording.